5:30. Move right into public comment. So if there's any members of the public which would speak, they may do so at this time.
Good evening, Anne Gregg, President of UPSU Local 6457. I'm joined tonight by Ashley Flynn Natale, Vice President, speaking on item 4A. The labor management process was pre-negotiated as part of our current UPSU collective bargaining agreement. The 3 applicants demonstrated that they were working outside of their job descriptions through their applications and interviews before our labor management panel, made up of 2 management reps, 2 union reps, and a neutral party. HR performed a maximus review of the added responsibilities, and it was determined that the additional responsibilities warranted an upgrade in compensation by way of a change in grade classification. The Arts and Culture Coordinator position hasn't been reviewed in 22 years. The office has been completely reimagined since the year 2000, and the job description before you reflects the many changes necessary to make it accurately reflect the day-to-day responsibilities. The Deputy Director of Central Communications position, in addition to his demanding 24/7 responsibilities, has taken on the significant role of acting as a system administrator for the public safety radios. These responsibilities require a ton of technological experience and save the city time and money by not having to pay for each new radio deployed to be programmed or managed by an outside vendor. The most significant change before you is the youth diversion specialist, which was formerly the youth services specialist. Due to a change in the law several years ago, diverting some of the youth offenders to be handled outside of the court system and instead case managed by the local youth services bureau. The incumbent in this position is a licensed clinical social worker who completely manages over 100 cases in addition to other youth services programming and helping when necessary facilitate groups in the school system. The workload went from being a referral source to being a day-to-day case manager. We're in full support of the changes before you and encourage you to vote yes to move these forward to the August council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anne.
Okay, any members of the public on WebEx? Let me just check.
I do not see anyone else.
Okay, awesome. So we will close public comment. Move right into, you don't want to speak, Ashley?
No, I'm good.
We'll move right into approval of minutes. So we need a motion to approve the minutes of the June 6th, 2022 special meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Jeanette, all right. We will move on now to our new business, our UPSU labor management. Justin, you want to take us through? You're on mute.
Thank you. Never gets old.
Yep, I know.
So the union did a great job explaining the process. Before you are 3 job descriptions that we have that are being reviewed from UPSU. The arts coordinator position, the deputy director of central communications, and what is now being retitled to the youth diversion specialist. This year, we began applications for the UPSU labor management process back in February of 22 with the distribution of applications to all local members. We received 5 applications back, and pursuant to a new contract provision, it's up to the union to choose the 3, or this year the 3 that were selected to go forward, as opposed to usually a lottery system or some other type of system. This way, the union has its own self can choose which positions if they haven't been in a long time. For instance, in this case, like arts hadn't been in 22 years. So the union has the choice to bring up the positions. The 3 that were chosen were obviously the ones in front of us today, and I can't be happier with how the negotiations went, the impact, the interviews, and the revisions. I think that we made a lot of good efforts towards making the city more up to date with its job descriptions, especially with all 3 of them. The caseload on the youth diversion specialist is huge, has a big impact on today's youth within the city. The arts position, as elegantly said by Anne, hasn't been reviewed in 22 years and has drastically changed since its first inception. and the Deputy Director of Central Communications position is vital to the ongoing 911 efforts that we have in the city, including our emergency radio systems that not just 911 uses, but also Public Works, water, sewer, fire. So it's a crucial infrastructure piece. All in all, I'm going to show up just so you guys see the numbers. I didn't get it prepared for this, but I have it to show. That's why I'm on WebEx. This is the fiscal impact for this this year's labor management. If you'll see here, I'm
Is
sorry.
there any way you can print and I can get copies, because Linda just can't see it?
Absolutely.
And I,
Actually, that's all right. I'll get it for
she
later.
can, he can print it and I can go over there. It's fine. And then he'll, oh, you have it? Okay, thanks.
Terribly
Through
nearby.
through the chair, I'd like a copy as well, please. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I literally put this together today. It'll be all presented for the council on the council agenda, if that helps as well.
Yeah.
Do you want typos?
What's that?
Want typos?
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 There are typos?
There's a typo. Donnie is Bonnie. Bonnie
It's
is
so it
Donnie.
is.
Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Good eye. All right, so most importantly, we have a very limited and small amount of fiscal impact due to the only 3 positions. It's not like one of the 466 where we have up to 21 sometimes. The net retro, because these these revisions will take effect July 1, so we're just kind of in the rears 1 month. So the retro is only $1,903 for all 3 combined. And then the fiscal impact for the remainder of the year with their increase in salaries is $21,753. So we just fall short of $24,000 of an impact. That's kind of it. If you want, Corey, I can go running those sheets.
That's fine, Linda has it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
That's everything. If you guys have any questions about process, about material or anything like that, please let me know.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I have a question about the clinical social worker license.
Yep.
That's above and beyond a master's degree? And how hard is it to get that?
I'm sorry?
Is it very?
Yeah.
I said, is it above and beyond the master's? Then how hard is it to get that?
Oh, I'm assuming it without a master's. I'm not sure.
No, I think you need the master's. It's like taking the bar exam, I think.
Oh, okay,
After
beyond
law
that.
school, I think it's a whole thing.
So are we gonna have trouble later down the road with not being able to recruit people?
I hope not. There are a lot of like.
So we've made it a master's degree requirement as the job description. So you need a master's degree to have this job. And in doing so, you also need that requirement to be a licensed clinical social worker.
And through the chair, a licensed clinical social worker. So I'm an MSW, but a licensed clinical social worker needs to work under the tutelage of another licensed professional. And there are certain hours that each graduate program requires. So I'm assuming that's the case here. They have to do several clinical hours before
Yeah,
they're
they would need
able
to
to
already be pre-licensed.
pre-licensed before they're able to even
Correct.
take a clinical exam. They pass and then they're licensed social workers.
Well, this says they have to have it before they come.
Right. They have to have it to apply.
So they need to have their license, right? So I was responding, Councilwoman Salafia, to your question
Yeah,
about.
just.
Oh.
I just not aware of how big the pool of people is in this situation.
I'll tell you one thing.
It's
not-
fine.
It's the salary, in fact. These are very underpaid positions and very competitive to get. So the fact that we are now looking at this job and realizing that it's had such a equity issue with the duties and responsibilities. Very happy that I'm sure if this ever came open in the future, we wouldn't have an issue recruiting for it now.
You wouldn't.
We wouldn't.
Would not.
Would it?
Would, he said would not.
Would not.
Not only.
This makes it very
Yeah.
competitive.
You know, it's all right.
Okay.
It's similar to like the teacher who gets a master's in education.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That you
Yeah.
can do nothing with unless you're
Get your
certified.
license, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's the
Right.
same thing, these people know you can get a master's in social work, but you need the certification to get employed.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
So Justin, on this, can I just ask a question on this point about, so does the grade have any correlation to the educational requirement? Cause we have like a grade 12 bachelor's, a grade 12 master's, and a grade 15 high school diploma.
Yep.
So is there absolutely no correlation?
There is absolutely a full correlation. They're all weighted on a rubric scale for Maximus.
Yeah.
Experience and education and all those types of things those criteria are all weighted on various criteria. So we have a rubric. It breaks down every position to verbal, math, function, situation, dexterity, using your fingers, physical ability, sensory data, experience, education, and environmental concerns. And through that, it's also broken further down into the data utilization, how much human interaction they have, and the types of machines that they use. All those things correlate to a number. So when you have a position that may have a master's degree and then 3 years experience, those are rated on two different like columns, because the experience is one portion and then the master's degree is another. And then there's other things that go into it on, like, for instance, is the person or the job, let's call it, is the job something that has a large impact on budget? Are they overseeing a lot of money? Or do they have a time span of, from when they are dealing with something? For instance, the youth diversion person may be involved with an entire case for up to a year. So that's 1 year of planning out. All those things take into account in our rubric to figure out a raw score.
Okay.
I just was gonna say that back in the day when we first negotiated Maximus, we could not get the people who came to speak to us to accept the fact that an education needed to be rated. So I'm glad to hear that since then, they now discuss an education. And back then, we weren't allowed to see the rubric at all.
Okay.
Nobody had.
Yeah,
outside.
we now let the union has all access to that. I'm very open with the process with them to make sure that everything's above board.
But it was a struggle back in the day, let me tell you.
Council, thank you. Councilman Blackwell, we will go to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple of questions. Director Richardson, since these positions were, I believe you said, chosen by the union, that means in terms of the financial impact, the impact was not incorporated into the budget that was presented by the department heads, correct?
So what was passed, the fiscal budget that was passed for July 22-23 does not include these impacts.
That's what I thought. So thank you for clarifying. And so the fiscal impact, again, overall for the three positions?
Is just under 24,000 overall.
Okay.
It's about $1,903 in retro pay between the three, and $21,753 in fiscal impact for the remainder of the year. That's to say, you just take the difference in what they're currently making to what they're proposed to make, and then
Within each of those departments. Okay. I got that. I was able to follow you. Thank you. And just for clarification purposes, the individuals that are currently in these positions got to weigh in or sort of add to the duties that they're currently doing, and that's why we're going through this process.
correct.
Correct?
So what happens is an employee will get the application for labor management. They will write down, usually they ask us for a copy of their job description, which is very common, so they can see what they're working out of class with. They pair that with whatever duties that they see that don't align with their job description. They present that to their department head, who reviews it and signs off. They may make comments if this is true or not most of the time, and if not 90% of the time, the department like, yes, this person's working in this out of class proportion. The employee, so that's the employee's first chance to say that there's something that's input. Then they get an interview with the committee to go over any of the fine details that we may have questions about, further explanations into, well, so your job description says this. Can you explain a little bit more as to what you mean? From there, we go into subcommittee. The committee meets again. Sorry, not subcommittee. We just go into another meeting to discuss the impact and what was presented in the application, what was said in the interview, and then what was discussed with the union. Edits are made, then they're brought back to the union. The union can discuss that with the employee if they so choose. I believe they do that. And then we finally come to an agreement and we move forward. So there's a lot of input from everybody to make sure that we're not incorrectly making a job description that has something that's not true or not right.
Right. I thank you. I always appreciate hearing you step through this process, a process that I've made no secret, kind of hard to embrace, but it's the process we have, and I understand that. So thank you for stepping through it. And just for clarification, then, once the employee presents it to the director, their application, at that point, if the director says no, then the applications don't move forward, correct?
No matter what, the application moves forward.
Regardless of the
Regardless, the department head can't say, "Oh, I don't agree." They can
Got
write,
it.
"I don't
Okay.
agree with these things," but it's still the applicant. It's a union
Excellent.
contractual right for them to be submitting an
Excellent.
application.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Discussion?
If I can then make a motion then, or we do this one at a time.
I would do them one at a time.
Yeah, so make a motion to approve the arts and culture coordinator upgrade as presented, and we thank everyone present today. I noticed there was a lot of red ink here, so there was a lot of work, so we thank you for that.
Second.
Second, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving arts and culture coordinator? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, passes unanimously. Take a motion, you want, Jean?
Yeah, so the deputy director of central communication, I'm on that committee, and great people that work really hard, unrecognized many times, by our community, for the upgrade, and, again, thank you for your hard work.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor of approving deputy director of central communications?
Aye.
Thank you, that one passes unanimously. We'll take a motion for our final one, youth diversion specialist.
And Brady will be very happy that this person's still working.
Yeah.
That was no long, we've had problems keeping, people in this position. So I make a motion to accept the upgrade.
Second.
Seconded, any discussion on this one? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, passes unanimously, and I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Sorry. All right, that's fine, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, Deb, before
Thank
you
you.
go off, because you're gonna be on WebEx tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you could, for our special meeting, if you could do 4B, read 4B, and then call on Brig to explain, to give the
4B?
executive, 4B, yeah,
Okay. Sure.
all right? And
Yes,
just
sir.
call on Brig, he'll
Okay.
give an executive summary, okay? Thanks, dear.
Yes. You're welcome. Bye-bye.